Hello, hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the stream. We're in it once again. If you guys can hear me all right and my audio is coming through clearly, please feel free to drop a reaction or something in the chat so that we can fix up our settings before we actually get into the proper stream and everything. Hello, greetings everyone. Nice of y'all to finally to make it to the stream and everything. Today we're working on a bunch of animation stuff, so we're just gonna be working on these animations until everything's finished, basically. Again, if you guys can hear me clearly, please feel free to drop a comment or something in the YouTube chat. You should be able to get things going from there. Alright, well, I hope that you guys can hear me alright. Um, says that I have some audio output on my end, but alright, loud and clear. Many thanks, many thanks. Ah, Sir Juke, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I'm surprised this got to you. I guess you follow our YouTube channel or something, huh? Welcome, Sir Juke. Very nice to see you here. So, mostly for today, we're just working on a bunch of animation stuff. Animation takes a long time, so there's a lot of like cleanup and everything that tends to go with it. So, it's fairly common for things to take a while. But with our deadline coming up, we hope we can get everything done. Oh, I also have a chat box. Here we go. Let me just... I actually have a YouTube chat box set up on my streaming. So you guys can see yourselves when you're chatting. Here you go. There we go. So that's basically what everything. Yeah, looks good. Let me just double check. Alright. Okay. Glad to have dropped by and see you. See your whip. Yeah, mostly a lot of what's the term? There's a lot of like steps that we have to worry about in animation, and it does take a fair amount of time and everything when we're working on animations like these. So yeah, it does tend to eat up a lot of time, but it's an opportunity. So while we're working, we can reach out, talk to the community, things like that. So these streams are gonna be fairly regular as things move on. Our entire studio's finally like up and running properly, so more regularized content and things like that for sure. So it's gonna be a bunch of stuff. I think mostly because we're able to just start working again. Getting everything back up and running did take quite some time, so it was a lot of value to just have people who can, spend the time, deal with the stream and stuff like that. Then my general plan is like, the stream highlights and things like that slowly become a regular occurrence for the whole channel. So we kind of start working more towards a bunch of stuff. So it kind of makes our lives easier, not having to worry or come up with content constantly. Just kind of we're able to sit down and just focus on animation and things like that. Have the time for it is also like one of the more important things. Just being able to sit down and relax, have the time to actually make the animation look good and all that stuff. So there's been a lot, working on a lot of things all at once. Studio got busier and busier as time went on, so more things to work on, more people to work with, tends to get busier. So that tends to be how the way the everything shakes out in the end. It's pretty fun just being able to sit down and work without having to worry about much. So overall, what program do you use for your animations and illustrations? This program right here is called Krita. You won't be able to see it because I kind of cropped out a lot of the UI, so you guys can just focus on the art. But yeah, this whole thing's called Krita. It has animation software and painting software all mixed together. So we do our backgrounds in Krita, we do our animations in Krita. All of our art and everything in the studio is primarily made in Krita, except for things like graphics and stuff like that. Typically graphics we use Affinity when we're making more complicated graphics and stuff like that, because Affinity can carry the weight of those graphics a little bit better than Krita can, and the vector tools significantly better in Affinity, so it makes our lives easier. Oh, I forgot to share the stream on the other platforms as well. Let me just throw it on Instagram real quick. Figure out how to post on Instagram. I'm not really an Instagram person, so it's just me kind of like guessing, trying to figure out how to do things. So, bunch of stuff. All of the things. I'm not sure how to post on Instagram. It's alright. It's too many things open all at once, having to like keep an eye on chat and everything as well. So kind of just adds to the amount of stuff to do. I hope you guys can hear the music as well. It might be a little soft. If it's a little too soft, you can just tell me. I can switchboard the music to make it a little louder. overall, it's just a lot of time spent, I think, like, working on these different projects and stuff like that. It's mostly a chill vibe. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, like I was saying, it's mostly just a relaxing vibe. Just finally being able to continue working on projects like this. A lot of the time, we kind of get caught up in all of the nitty-gritty details of projects. Like, you wanna do a bunch of stuff, but being able to just kind of sit down and work on the projects, just give yourself some time to work on everything, is pretty important too. Especially with how much, work we actually end up putting into projects and stuff like that. It does change a bit here and there. Normally as well, I have a bunch of people that hop into the stream and all do work and things like that. But it's been fairly difficult to get have enough time for everyone to sit down for like a 3 hour or 4 hour stream and just kind of like work and draw and stuff like that. So it is fairly tedious, kind of taxing here and there as well. So overall, it's pretty fun though. It gets tiring after a while, of course, but I would rather stream and work at the same time than just sit down and not do any stream at all or not do any work, because streaming's pretty fun. It also allows you guys to ask questions, get straight answers rather than having to post comments and wait for who knows how long for someone to be able to get to the comment. So kind of like a small thing, giving back to the community just a little bit, if that's even how you want to consider it, of course. And making videos, like making general videos and stuff like that for the channel has been fun, as I've got the opportunity again to continue to make videos, just because my schedule's opened up enough to the point where making videos has become a legitimate option. And I'm hoping to kind of do things a little more regularly, because when I've looked at my my schedule, it seems like it's opened up significantly, and I'm able to just do a bunch of stuff. All art related things, kind of able to enjoy a bit. And what I'm doing now, the animation cleanup process, it's one of the most like meditative portions of working in animation. just because of how, you know, you have to take things slow, make sure all of the lines look clean and nice. You have to make sure everything is up to a certain standard, and that standard is kind of up to you. So it's a bunch of stuff, bunch of things where you just have to consider. Take your time with every single stroke and make sure that it comes out to the quality that you need it to be. So it's pretty fun. Animating and stuff like that's pretty fun. And sometimes, you know, doing cleanup changes a bit. You have to work differently, have to think differently. But overall, when you kind of get the groove of like working in cleanup, it's pretty fun. I'm dreading the day where I have to be a background artist though. I'm not great at background art, so it's pretty, pretty difficult, I'd say. Just all of the extra stuff in the background that you have to draw. At the moment, I've been making all of our backgrounds in 3D. If you guys have seen the YouTube shorts or Facebook reels that we've been making, kind of shows how we actually do our background process and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, it's there on YouTube, it's there on our Facebook, so you can just kind of sit back and enjoy it. One of the major things when you're doing cleanup as well, especially in situations like this, like you want to make sure it looks good with and without the line art underneath. Because if you are constantly worrying about how it looks with the line art underneath or the sketch layer, it kind of loses the value of the actual line art. So it kind of has to be able to stand on its own. And looking at it, typically, we're looking at this on a screen similar to like our what's the thing called? Our computer screens or phone screens. We want to make sure that the quality of the lines comes through when it kind of shrinks down, becomes like a thumbnail and things like that. So we kind of have to make sure everything functions at that certain level. And of course, like, have references. Like, that's the number one important thing, is having references, what your characters look like, all of the details and stuff that the characters have. You need to constantly have those references available. The more available those references are, the more your brain's gonna like pull in information, and the more information your brain starts to pull in, the more consistent your line art can be, the more consistent your characters can be. So it's just great to have references always available. So it does, right now, I think it looks kind of okay. Looks okay for the character that we're going for, the shape and everything. I'd maybe spend a little more time dealing with these eyes. They don't look exactly how I would like them to look. Maybe just because of the way the eyes were drawn. Sorry for that. I'm a bit under the weather. Not feeling too hot, unfortunately. But yeah, I think this looks good. So that's like 1 frame, and we have a bunch more frames to go. It's like this whole animation, this scene specifically is 186, 87 frames. So with that, you kind of have to not be too precious about 1 frame. You have to like keep moving on to the next one, and that's a fairly common thing. Jumping from 1 frame to another is fairly common as well. So yeah, that's first frame done. We move on to the next one, and we see that it's horribly off, of course, because the character is moving. So all of this needs to be erased, rechanged, and then we have to work on it again. So that's a fairly common practice. With cleanup, look for the parts that don't really move that much. We can see here, if we hide this, we can see here the main things that move are the arm near that wrist, and of course the head. So since the head's moving, we have to change our cleanup there as well. So that's it. So from here, we know that the wrist moves, so we can delete all of that. And it's kind of just the process, unless there's a big change amongst the animation. Typically, you're gonna see it stagger a little bit more, so you can erase less or you have to erase more. Here we can see that there's some change near the bottom of her shirt and near her hand there, above her hand near the sleeve. So we just add to that cleanup and just keep going. It's a slow but very fulfilling process once you get everything done, because cleanup is the straight foundation of one of the better animations. If you have a really good cleanup, really nice cleanup, you can kind of see where everything kind of comes from, where everything goes. And another tool we have as animators is the onion skin. So the onion skin is this red outline you see here. It can be red or green. In Krita, typically it is red and green. You can change the colors to whatever color you want. But basically this shows you what the previous drawing looked like. So here we can see the lines don't necessarily align with each other. They're a little off. So we can look between the frames to see where the next line's gonna be. So that kind of helps us with our cleanup process, because we know the next line's gonna be there, or we can look at what the shape of the previous line was and then change the shape a little bit to make the animation flow a little bit better, right? So since things don't move that much, we can kind of almost trace over, like we're almost copying exactly the line. But we do see changes, like here. We're trying to get the average of these line strokes. So you can see right here is like an important one. The way the sleeve moves up when she shifts her body. We just stack that basically. And we just keep going. Nice and slow. Just make sure everything flows really well. And, you know, sometimes in animation, especially if you're working with a big group, some people miss things. Some animators draw things differently compared to others. So it's kind of the cleanup artist's job to make sure that the animation looks good. Make sure that everything flows properly. So we can see here, there's like a slight pop. Probably not too noticeable with how structured everything is. So with a slight pop like this, it's not that bad. But we can just kind of go over that and change it around a little bit. So it goes down, attaches, that's fine. And kind of like I said a while ago, it's making sure that everything has consistency. So, you'll also encounter situations like this. In one frame, the artist drew all of the wrinkles and things like that, and in the next frame, the wrinkles are gone. Doesn't necessarily mean that we as the cleanup artists should forget the wrinkles were there. Kind of why it's important to have this onion skinning on so that we can see where the cleanup goes and things like that. So we can just add in the wrinkles even though on the artist's original sketch they're gone, unless the wrinkles have changed so much to the point where it's not really a worry, I guess. Unless it's changed that much, it's not necessary. So you can just kind of draw it over, just kind of copy what you did previously, move it around a little bit, and you'll have like a slight shift in the frame, which is what you're looking for. Here's another example. See, the artist here has a this bottom part and then a part here, but in the other frame there's the top part but the bottom line is missing, so we just have to add that in. We can also see here, based on the line, that from here to here is the length, and we can see in the previous one it's shifted over, so it's from here to here. So with that shift we can also use that as a marker to be like, hey, this is how long that wrinkle actually is going to be. So it's little things like that. It's kind of almost like a puzzle, like trying to figure out where everything goes, and because of where the wrinkles move kind of also shows motion, so you can just add all that together. Yeah, cleanup is fun. A lot of people don't like it because it takes so much time, but once you really get used to doing cleanup, it actually gets really fun. Especially if you have a good animator, like or a good artist working before you. You don't really have to think about it much. You can just kind of go blindly into the workload and just trust that the quality of the work is going to be good, because you know, you can trust yourself, plus you can trust the other systems and stuff. And if you guys ever do have any other questions, just feel free to throw them into the chat, because I will get to them. We're just floating around here right now, so might as well, if you guys have questions that you want answered, or if you're curious about something that relates to animation, or even, the state of the animation industry and stuff like that, I'd be happy to talk about it, because they're fun topics overall. Have you seen the season finale for Invincible yet? It's on my watch list. That along with Frieren. It's been on my like to watch list for sure. A bunch of stuff that I was actually like kind of excited for came out almost around the same time, so my watch list grew pretty full really suddenly. But yeah, Invincible's on my watch list. I love the overall quality that Invincible has. There are some scenes where it's animated a little weirdly, but I'm sure that's specifically just because, you know, budgeting, could be a bunch of stuff, so it's a little harder to explain. But I'm sure most normal people don't watch Invincible with like a fine-tooth comb like I do, so it's kind of, yeah. There's a scene in Invincible that I found really funny. It's the sorry. It's the scene where he's like talking to the creator of like his favorite show or something, or comic artist or something like that. And the comic artist is talking about like how all of the cheats that they use like make it a wide camera shot so it looks like there's a lot of things happening, or cover the characters' mouths so they don't have to do the lip syncing and stuff like that. It was really funny. Yeah, the Comic Con scene. It was really funny because it's like kind of accurate. That's how we treat a lot of like scenes. It's like, how do we do the least amount of work possible, especially in the animation industry, because in the animation industry we have something called I like to call it line mileage. So it's basically how far or how many scenes can you do, basically like how many scenes can you do at a certain point in time. Some people will also call it line count. So like we can use this as an example. Like line count basically is like making sure that the character is drawable in less than a certain number of strokes. So like for example, if we're drawing the hair here, that's counted as one stroke, and that's faster than if we had like multiple like spikes on her hair, for example, which makes it like more than just one stroke of your pen. And this also happens to be what happens with like animation. So if we have to draw this one stroke over and over again, it's fairly easy. But if we have to draw something more complicated, like maybe she has like a wave in her hair, every time we draw that, it takes so much more time. So you can see here, it's like that's one stroke, that's a second stroke, that's a third stroke, that's a fourth stroke. So that's why a lot of animated characters tend to lower the number of details that they have on them to make it a little bit cleaner, make it a little bit easier to animate them. So yeah, when they were talking about that scene in Invincible where there's like, oh yeah, we like cover the mouths of the characters so we don't have to do lip syncing, and we do all of these things so we don't have to do these other stuff. I was like, yeah, that's accurate. That's exactly how it works. Like this is the character I'm drawing right now. This is the final design, and it's pretty heavy with the lines because she is one of the main characters, so we can kind of get away with adding more lines to the character and stuff like that. But that's typically, yeah, it's I just found it funny because it's like very true to how it feels to be an animator, especially in the industry like this. But being an animator is fun, you know. Taking your time with stuff is also fun. Like there's I heard since we were talking about like stuff that I wanted to watch, Freerun had an insane final like final credit scene or something. Like their credit scene was like hyper animated with a bunch of stuff. So it was like kind of like hype to see that much work being put into something similar. Also, another crazy thing that I just realized, like, imagine the people that had to do this traditionally back in the day, just working with pen and paper. They couldn't really check if their animation was correct. There's no playback, so they have to like do it frame by frame and just hope that everything works. Used color pencils to call that's insanity. Imagine that's so much work. And they did it traditionally. That's crazy. Because colored pencils is like hard to replicate in digital. We have some pens and like some brushes that we can use that kind of replicate colored pencils and colored brushes and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's like very difficult to actually replicate properly because of just how the shape is and the interaction with like the colors. Because when you're doing it traditionally, the layers kind of do matter because they kind of interact with each other. But digitally, we can separate the layers and they don't interact that much unless you specifically have a brush that forces them to interact, like a smudge tool or something similar. So that's insane. The fact that they use colored pencils for that. I also realized like writing the script was one of the harder things. In case there are people here that didn't watch the Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts that we made, um, this is an animation about the animation industry in the Philippines, and this is one of the characters. The pilot episode is basically what we're making, and it was really really hard to actually like write characters because of like the amount of interactions with how many characters there were. In the pilot episode, you'll see like 3 characters, but in the actual film, there's like 7 or 8 of them that are all interacting, and all of them have like specific personalities and stuff like that. So it gets really really heavy with how much dialogue and stuff happens. It's the same guy who animated the scene in One Piece. It's the same art style and animation. That's crazy. Just one dude is animation pencils, colored pencils against the world. That's so much work though. I wonder how many hours he spent just animating. Must have been a lot. Just the sheer amount of frames. I wonder what frame rate he also had. 'Cause that's a lot of frames to worry about. All right. Let's see. I think this pops a little bit too much right here. This needs to straighten out, I think. Just a little bit. And if this is straightened out, I think I can kind of deal with the rest of it. Ooh. I think this could use some cleaning. Make it a little bit straighter. Just because of the way the sleeve was folding. I think that's a little more. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Probably nice and like a bit smoother. Typically, scenes like this, you're only gonna really notice a few frames. But we have a thing called popping. Popping is when lines aren't perfectly aligned with each other in an animation when they are supposed to be. So we can see that the hand here barely moves in this side, for example, and they stay relatively aligned. But when you look up at the sleeves are slightly different sizes, so that might cause a pop. So typically in situations like that, you just want to finish your cleanup to all the way until the end. Then when you're at the end of your cleanup, look through the whole animation to see what's wrong with it, and then from there you can kind of just double back or kind of just try to figure out how to set everything up, or what you need to fix, because maybe you think it's popping, but when you show it to other artists or if other people see it, they might not even notice it pops. So yeah, that's a fairly normal thing. Typically, some artists will also say that when you're doing cleanup, for example, let me make an example here. So we have this line, right? Typically, some artists will say like, oh, when you're doing cleanup, so that the line stays consistent, just like transform the line, so it stays consistent throughout the entire animation. I would agree if you were using like vector tools and stuff like that. But if you're not using vector tools, this line will start to actually still deform. Because every time you change its position, it will slowly start to degrade in quality, because your program has to basically recalculate the number of pixels that it has. So it will get blurrier and blurrier compared to a newer line. So you can see here like how many frayed pixels there are on this side of the line, and then compare it to this side. It's a little more solid. Small things like that do matter in the grand scheme of things, especially when you're trying to make your animation look consistent. Typically, if you would ask me, just draw it again. It's good practice, and it also makes sure that you can just keep the quality that you want, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Because if you keep transforming the line, it'll just keep lowering in quality, and it'll just kind of degrade your animation after a while. But it's also a reason why we don't add too many details on the characters, because if you add too many details on your characters, you have to draw them over and over again, which is not fun. Especially if, like, imagine you had a character that has like a bunch of armor. That's actually one of the bigger fears that I have. Wait, I think I can show. I'll show you guys a concept that I've been working on recently. Okay. Here is here is the character that I've been working on recently for comic series. And you can see just how much detail exists in the character. I don't suggest this. If you're doing an animation with a character with this much detail, it's gonna be really, really problematic. Just looking at the consistency that the book needs to be, the consistency that of the armor and all of that stuff, all of that's gonna be very problematic. So what you'll want to end up doing is you'll end up slowly changing the character's design over time. But for a comic series, you can have that detailed inside the model or inside your character model a little bit more, so it does improve on certain things. Another thing here is like, all of the stuff, like all of the gun detail, all of the things like that, like that slowly is going to cause problems down the line if this became an animation, just because of so many details on the character that animators have to keep track with, which is why we have simpler characters like this. It also allows the audience to focus more on the what's the term? It allows the audience to focus more on the character acting, which is the animation portion, rather than the design itself, which I think is important because in the long or short of it, you're going to be having to deal with character acting if you're really dealing with animations. So that's basically it. Just gotta make sure your character is easy to draw. And I also think that anyone can actually be an animator. It's not that difficult. You just have to put in the effort, the hours. Make sure that you're practicing and all that stuff. What is... There we go. Around here. And like zooming in, zooming out also helps. Typically you want to keep your lines into one solid stroke, just because it's better for line consistency and things like that. And when we are drawing, we also have things called line weights. Line weights are basically how thick the lines are, and when to have thicker or thinner lines. If a line is far too thick, it kind of looks like an outline, which is relatively okay, if that's the style you're going for. If you're trying to replicate people's art style, typically you want to look at the lines, how people do the lines and stuff like that. A lot of the artists I work with for this project specifically, a lot of them are leaning towards the more anime style characters, while I'm more of a comic artist, so I have to learn how to do like kind of anime styled lines and things like that. But overall, being able to learn from artists like this is pretty fun. We even have like a sample frame. I think I can show a sample frame. Hold on. Of what the whole project's supposed to look like. There's a bunch of stuff that we have to consider and things like that. But yeah, let me see if I can find the sample frames. Oh, I don't think I have it. No, I might have not made it. If you want to see a sample frame, just head to our Facebook page. The sample frame's been posted up there for a while. A lot of the character designs have changed though, because we were doing the screen test for the characters, and a lot of their designs needed to be changed for the better, of course, just because of how the characters look. In the second episode of Working Studio, which is a posted short here on YouTube, you can actually see the what's the term? You can actually see the I actually talk about how the characters changed over time. In the studio, we actually have a bunch of stuff happening. Like, we're all working on a bunch of stuff. For someone who is a beginner in digital illustration, what exercise practice can you give to help improve in drawing? If you're a beginner, the basic thing that I will always teach, and this is what I taught my students as well, is always make sure that you know how to draw the box. The box is basically just your test to see how good you are at drawing perspectives. If you're good enough at drawing perspectives, basically you can draw anything in some capacity. So it's just like an important test to get really good at it. If you're also starting, I would always start with line weights. Line weights and things like that are pretty important. So how thick your lines are versus how thin you can make them, that is a level of control that you also need to have. And making sure that your lines can stay consistent no matter how many times you draw it. If you're really just like starting off, like as a beginner artist in general as well, one of the suggestions I can always give is always start with drawing things that you want to draw. A lot of people like, oh, I have to learn all of the tutorials from every like famous artist ever, and then I'll be as good as them. But sometimes you get lost and your passion ends up disappearing, and you end up becoming a sad boy because you lost what was the reason why you started drawing in the first place. So draw the things you like, draw the things that make you happy. And if they're kind of crappy and garbage when you start, that's kind of normal, because soon enough, when you keep going, you're going to be able to get that consistency and make it look pretty. One of the main things that if you're trying to be consistent and you want to just improve, looking for references online, for if you want to draw cars, for example, or people, just look at references of cars or look at references for people. Look at these different poses. If you want to draw anime, like look at how they do their line works and things like that, and try to copy it. Not like trace over it, like, you know, tracing it like one to one. That won't help you in the long run, because you're just tracing. Overall, you want to be able to understand how to actually draw something. Drawing from form and stuff like that is also very important. So you have an understanding, a fundamental understanding of how to draw things in perspective. If you are drawing for humans, anatomy is a great place to start. But if you are drawing anything except humans, or maybe you want to draw animals or objects, the main thing that you can really start with is get good at drawing shapes. Everything in the world, when you simplify it, is actually just a basic shape. And everything does become a basic shape. So, like, if you want, for example, you want to draw a what's a great thing? Say you want to draw a face, right? Some people will be like, okay, yeah, here's the eyes, here's the nose, here's the mouth, here are the ears, and they're just kind of guessing at where everything is. But if you break everything down into simplified shapes, you can actually have a standard for like where everything is. So here's the circle, that's the head. Okay, we have the flat parts of the head. That's where your ears go. Okay, we need to draw the jaw. Some people draw the jaw like this, where it's just a triangle. I'm okay with drawing the jaw like that if you want. But you can just kind of slowly add shapes to your drawing until it looks more and more like an actual person. And if it doesn't look like a person at the start, that's okay, because you're starting. No one's gonna judge you for being a bad artist. I think people are gonna judge you more if you just gave up and didn't really try that hard. But basic shapes. Start with the basic shapes. Everything can come down to basic shapes. If you want to get good at lighting, sure, draw a sphere. Understand how the sphere works. From there, you can kind of figure out where the shadows are. You can figure out how the light interacts with that sphere, how the shadows are on the ground. That changes. So if you are ever starting, just learn your basic shapes, and from there, everything else will kind of follow. But it's also important to just draw stupid stuff and enjoy. I believe there's a frame here. Let me see if I can find it. There's actually a frame in this animation that I find hilarious. Yeah, there he is. This is, I don't know what, but my animators put him in, and I don't have the heart to delete him because he's adorable. And I don't know what he is. He's a pig unicorn, apparently. But drawing stupid stuff is also great, you know, because it helps you kind of keep that creativity, keep that passion alive, and that's important. Yeah, the pig has been a common occurrence for some reason in the animations that these artists make. Is it a unipig or a unibore? I have no idea. It's there. It exists. It haunts my nightmares. Because I don't know what he is. He's just always around. And I kind of got infected by that kind of style as well, where it's just a bunch of really dumb drawings kind of all stacked together. There's actually another one. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's not on this frame specifically. But when we started making the animations, we have to make storyboards, right? And one of the storyboards that we got, this is one of the storyboards we got. So in this scene, she's supposed to be contemplating her life. And this is what they gave me. And it's like a fairly common thing for these artists to draw simplified but very emotional versions of their art. So yeah, things like this. This is another one. We have a sticker version of this. We've made a sticker version because I find it hilarious. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, I found it. So here is the sticker version. This is the Judgmental Freya sticker. And then here is the other sticker version, which is this thing I'm holding is cool. And we were just planning to change the name written on the paper, basically. But yeah, that's basically a bunch of random stuff. But it also comes down to just drawing what you love. as you can see from the general playback, I couldn't see any popping or anything like that, which typically means the cleanup is going at a decent angle and everything. Overall, pretty happy that it looks like that. That basically means I'm doing the right thing or going down the right path. So I'm just gonna keep going. But as you saw, there are a lot of frames that I have to deal with. A lot of making sure everything looks nice. A lot of making sure that everything has consistency and stuff like that. And I also have to worry about two different characters interacting. Typically, physics or interactions between two things tends to be kind of complicated when you look at the long or short of certain things, and that tends to add a lot of extra work, I guess, if that's how you want to consider it. Basically, it adds a lot of extra work to my workload. So we just gotta keep going. Here I can see mostly changes around the head and changes here near the arm. Changes up here near the sleeves area. And of course a big change here on the crease on her shirt. So same as before, just erase the parts that you are gonna change and just keep going. So it's just a bunch of stuff, and this is just kind of like the permanent path forwards. I have some friends that do clean up a little bit differently. I have some artists that do clean up a little bit differently than me. Primarily because everyone cleans up in their own style or own way. For me, I tend to clean up with like a consistency of just do the whole thing all at once, and then move on to the next frame. I know some people that will clean up only the hand first, and then the arm, and then the next part. So cleanup does change based on who you're working with. For the most part, as long as your lines are clean and they stay consistent, then that's perfect. In situations where your lines aren't too clean, you typically might have to go back in and adjust the whole thing. But that's just how cleanup works, really. There's not really much we can do about it, unfortunately. But yeah, cleanup is cleanup. It is fun. Recently, since the studio finally has been like kicking up and really starting to do a bunch of stuff, I had to look at the analytics for videos and stuff like that. Our videos are doing pretty well. One of our videos crossed 9,000? 19,000. Let me double check. One of our videos crossed a certain number of views recently, and I was surprised by it. 1.8k views in a day. I uploaded it yesterday. It has 1.8k views in a day. And I was looking at the analytics, and I was surprised that the number of people actually viewing the channel are Japanese. Like that's such a specific demographic, and why are they watching a Filipino channel? Like, I boiled down to it, like the studio's in the Philippines. Why are they watching a Filipino? Like, do they not have cool animations in Japan? I don't understand it. So it was a very strange shock to me. Like, oh, our number one demographic, Japanese. Okay, I don't even speak Japanese, but that's great. very funny demographic overall. But yeah, so our a working studio series is working pretty well. And you know, it's at least moving forwards in some capacity, one way or another, which is great. Okay, this has gotten longer. And I think I can transition it to making the other piece a bit shorter. Yeah, because it rotated a bit. We can see here it rotated a bit, so I rotate this piece up a little bit and then make it a little bit shorter. So yeah, it's a lot of frames to deal with. Typically, I do drawing streams for 3 hours, maybe even more than 3 hours, depending on how much of a flow I'm in. But it is fun to kind of go back and forth, just dealing with different frames and stuff like that. Like the previous drawing streams we had, they would be 3 hours, upwards of 3 hours, or sometimes even more. And it's kind of surprising with how many hours we can put into just drawing and just chatting about random stuff. I did forget to I can I'm gonna just oop what happened to the music? Oh, we got to the bottom of the track. That's crazy. All right, more music. All right, back to it. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. The music that you guys are hearing is actually just the like 100% free music that like YouTube provides. So it's like just completely free stuff, and it's all really good. I've used a lot of the music for my videos and stuff like that. But recently we've been working with a music composer, and he's been making music for us, especially for the animation, and it's been great because we're just that one step closer to having handcrafted music specifically for your animation or specifically for a specific story and things like that. Really does help because it kind of it can carry a heavier weight compared to music that might just roughly fit the genre or the idea. But yeah, it's been really fun having and working with music producers and stuff like that. This eye is weirdly drawn. Starting to notice it's kind of off compared to the other one. Just because of the shape. Right here, I think, is the main problem. Hello, and welcome to the stream, my friend. I'm back. Apologies for that. It was a bit got the sneezy fit out of nowhere. I don't want to subject you guys to me just sneezing constantly, so. Ooh. Here you can see there is some issues. As the animation was moving forward, you can kind of see it starting to degrade the lines. Because of the way the shirt is drawn, I think the animator wanted to show like the shoulder was shifting. But typically small animations like this do need more consistency. So the way that the shoulder actually opens up here does change the quality of the animation that we're looking for. So as we can see here, there is some change as well. I was like roughly following it. But for these last two frames, I think the best option is to just follow the previous frame a little bit more. Specifically because the way it's set up right now, it does kind of... what's the term? It does kind of mellow out. Like, it kind of bleeds together a little too much. So the best course of action is to just kind of stack it. So I'm just going to reference this previous frame rather than referencing the key animation that was made underneath. Since that's the point, we turn on the onion skinning mode. Get some of the reference shapes that we need, something like that, and call that, because if we try to change it a little too much, we might see that popping I was talking about previously, where suddenly there's a big difference, or suddenly there's inconsistency in the line, which is something we want to avoid when it comes to cleanup. By the way, this frame, apologies, this frame is heavy. It's 2 gigabytes, which is kind of insanity to me. I thought it would lighten up after I trimmed some of the file sizes down, but no, it's 2 gigabytes still. It's just crazy how heavy this animation is. There's not even much to it either, it's just the animation itself is heavy. I also noticed while we were looking at the frames a while ago, in this state, the next frame, the body doesn't move, so it's only the head that's actually gonna shift. In a case like this, I would typically just duplicate the frame, since this bottom or her body doesn't move for that frame. I'm literally just gonna duplicate that frame and then erase the parts we don't need later, but it speeds up the process because it keeps the consistency of motion, and after it keeps the consistency of motion, it just kind of adds on top of that. So that's pretty important. But yes, that's a great part. Alright, so let's just finish up this frame, and after that we're gonna be 2 hours into our stream, and we're not even anywhere close to being done. So I might pause to eat lunch, or I might just end the stream and then pick it up again in the afternoon, and hopefully we can have some people accompany us in the afternoon for for just company, general conversation. That tends to work a little bit better when you have a lot of people that you can work with. It tends to be a little bit more enjoyable as well as a viewer, rather than me just sitting around yapping to myself. So I might continue the stream later on in the afternoon when we hit the 2-hour mark. But yes, with all of the settings and things dialed in, I don't think I have to worry about it too much anymore. I can just kind of enjoy the whole thing. But we'll see who's available, in case there is anyone available. Typically, chat is always open for people to hop in whenever they want. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. kind of crazy that we're almost 2 hours into the whole thing, and I'm like only a few frames done. It does, like I said earlier, it is a little bit difficult to keep the keep consistencies and things like that, especially with cleanup. It's just a lot of line work. None of the fancy stuff. It's just all line work over and over again. So that's the way the crumble cookies need that kind of consistency somehow. Here I did notice that in the sketch, or in the layer underneath, the artist changed only above a certain point. You can kind of see it here, where only a certain point of the head changed. I want to make sure that that's a little less noticeable in my cleanup, so I want to try to smooth and mellow things out a bit. Hopefully, I'm gonna test soon if my computer can actually take it. But I want to make sure that... Ooh. Plane is flying over. Yeah, I'm gonna be testing a few other video ideas and stuff like that throughout the week, because I have a lot of work to do, surprisingly. It's a few days into my vacation and I got loaded with a bunch of work, so I have to try and find some consistency somewhere to make sure I can get all the work done. Yeah. 'Tis the life. 'Tis the life of an animator and the project manager and the studio director. So it's a lot of stuff. That eyelashes were far too long. Typically, like when I'm working like this, I would just be in Discord, just chatting with friends and stuff like that, but no one's really online today, so... And I wanted to, of course, show you guys that we here at the studio are alive. We're just very busy working on trying to make sure our animation is finished and stuff like that. That is a choice. There we go. Some okayer music. I don't know what that was. It is just playing whatever YouTube suggests, so it did get kind of weird there near the end, sorry. What is this? What is what is YouTube giving me? What the heck? A bunch of random songs, it seems. Alright, so this is the initial portion of the animation done. Kind of sets up the scene, stuff like that. Let's give it a quick watch to see how we did. And in case we notice any popping or anything out of the ordinary. So typically that's the work that we have to do. So I am noticing a pop. If you guys can see it too, there is a slight pop. If you're looking right underneath her left hand shoulder, the disappearance of the detail, since it was prominent at the start, it's really easy to notice that it's gone later on, as well as the inconsistent shape of the line on the wrinkle on her chest. So because those two things are very inconsistent, very easy to notice that there's something wrong with them. I'm also noticing the first frame, the longest frame, of course. There is a strange shape of the wrinkles on her right arm. So we just have to go in and fix that, basically. So we can kind of see here again why this tool is important, the onion skinning mode. We can see here that it's too long, so maybe we can shorten this, and the placement of this other wrinkle is a little off, so we can just adjust that real quick. So adjust that here, make that a little thinner, and connect it kind of like that, and add a slight swoop here. Oh, that scared me. Alright. Alright, so we can see there that was one of the issues. This wrinkle, I think, needs to have a keep that strong angle, so it should go down rather than flatten out, because the shirt is pulling rather than flattening. Since the shirt is pulling a bit more, we can do something like this, something at a slighter angle. So that looks a little bit better. Then this one, we can just follow the initial shape that we made with the other one. So we can just kind of do this slighter angle. Then this one we can just copy, basically. Cause this frame, this part of the frame, and this one, this frame and this one are supposed to be the same. I can't change anything. It can't shift because it'll look like there's a pop, because it's supposed to be a hold frame. A hold frame is basically making sure that the frame is a little bit more what's the term? It's basically making sure that the frame is a little more what's the thing called? Consistent. It kind of tricks the brain into thinking that the moving object has fully stopped. So all I'm gonna do here is I'm actually going to just copy. So just copy sharp, and in this frame just gonna paste it, and that should be good. The reason why we're doing the copy pasting, I said a while ago we shouldn't probably do the copy pasting like that, primarily because of the way that the whole thing is set up. One of the main reasons why we did the copy pasting is because the frame has to be the same. As you can see here, between these two frames, they cannot shift, basically. So these two are exactly the same. Let's just remove the onion skin. You can see here that these two are the same. The only thing that's supposed to be moving is the head, because the head is the follow-through action, right? So that's why they have to stay consistent. We try again. We see what's happening again. I remember we also discussed this this wrinkle. I think we can do without. So just to make it like more consistent, I think we're just gonna remove this one. So we can just remove this, and hopefully that makes the animation more consistent. So let's see what's up. Better. See how much better that looks? So it's significantly smoother. Some rippling a little bit there on the first frame is still off for me. And there's a pop right there at the end frame because of the way the shirt is shifting. So we just have to fix that. So let's fix the ripple here. The shape is not consistent. So let's just remove this and make the shape a little more consistent. So it goes in at an angle like that. That should keep... there's a strange pop right there. I would probably want to fix that in case there's something. But this is the pop we're working about. Look at that. Look at this part here on this corner of her shirt. We see pop, pop. See, just between these two frames, how much it pops. So frame 1, frame 2. So there's a horrible pop. That is what I mean by there is a pop. It's popping. Because the frames are not consistent with each other. And that's just the kind of thing we gotta fix, unfortunately. Here, there's a pop. This shoulder shouldn't be there. Shouldn't pop like that. So just gotta remove it. Remove it. Then typically, if you have a pop that's that bad, you can try to draw in the middle, between the two. So you can see here, this is the first frame. This is the second frame. So we wanna kind of draw in that middle here. For this frame's popping, I'm just gonna remove that line, and I'm just gonna follow the consistency of the previous one. So around here, we can add a little bit of thickness to it to indicate that it might change. But again, this is supposed to be a hold frame, so they're supposed to be exactly the same. So we cannot do that. So since it's a hold frame, we're just gonna do what we did a while ago. Copy sharp, then paste sharp. Alright, then we go into our edit mode and just erase out all of the stuff we don't need. So we don't need this line, we don't need this line. Alright, and we don't need this top bit. Okay, so all we need to do now is check consistency. Looks good. Let's try to watch the whole animation again and see if it worked out, if our changes helped. So, oh yeah, I did draw a big circle on that other one, which does cause the frame to look weird. Should have removed that. Let's just clean it out real quick. Scrubby, scrubby. Scrubby, scrubby. Alright. Now we can watch the animation again to see how we did. If this animation comes out alright, we're gonna end the stream there because I am absolutely starving. Alright, let's hide the previous bottom layer. Let's just look at the cleanup only. Let's add a few more frames, what we call hold frames, to the animation, just to see if it holds really good. I'd say it holds pretty well overall. It looks pretty good, looks pretty consistent. And since that consistency is there, I would say that this does wonders. This is probably it. Yeah, this looks good. I'm not noticing anything else that needs to be worked on. So, perfection. Alright. So with that, since that looks pretty good, yeah, that's where we're gonna end the stream for today. I hope you guys enjoyed and will allow me to stream for you all next time. I'm gonna go grab some lunch, and hopefully I can, you know, find some people to join me with my next stream. Oh, my dear friend, hello. But we're about to sign off. Thank you for giving the stream a chance, though. We're about to head off as we've completed the animation, small bit of the animation we're working on. Hopefully you can catch us next time if you want to drop a subscription or something so that you can keep up to date with our next stream. But yes, we're going to be going now. So again, hope you guys enjoyed and will allow me to stream for you all next time. See you guys.